from team Keep Learning. In this video, we will see grouped and ungrouped data. In the previous video, we have seen the type of data or variable we use in statistics fundamentally on the basis of fundamentals of statistics. But this kind of data, grouped and ungrouped statistical data, is very useful when you are organizing the statistical data or when you are analyzing any data. So, why we need data grouping? Why we need data grouping? Why we need to group data? So first we have to see that the size of the data. First we have to see the size of the data, like number of samples or number of data points. Sometimes are deciding factor while organizing the data. That means if it is more, the number of data points are more, it is better to group it so that data handling will be easy. And if the number of data points are small, we can as it is carry on with our statistical analysis. So why we group statistical data is grouped to make meaningful and logical conclusions out of a data. We group it so that we can really make sense out of the data we have obtained. So what does then ungrouped data means? If I see what does ungrouped data means, when the sample size is relatively small and data is analyzed in its raw form, that means whatever the form of data is, as it is, I am carrying on my statistical analysis. And also one of the point you have to keep in mind is that when the sample size is small, that means when the sample size is small and we are analyzing the data in its raw form, so it is ungrouped data. Like example is marks obtained by students out of 100, like 45, 25, 65. So it is a small data and I don't need to group it. Just like that, I can carry on with my statistical analysis. And second one is the group data. Group data means when the sample size is relatively large, the data is divided into certain classes and then statistically analyzed. Okay, means if the sample size is very large, you cannot carry your statistical analysis in its raw form. So what you will do is that you will group into certain classes and then you will carry out your statistical analysis. Let's say for an example, this is the wages in rupees and number of workers fall in it. So between 0 to 10 rupees, 22 workers, 10 to 20, 38, 20 to 30, 46, and so on. So this is grouped data. Now we will see what is the difference between grouped and ungrouped data. So first one is the classification. Group data means organize in classes after analysis. We do its analysis and we form certain classes as you have seen in the previous example, and then we group the data. In ungrouped data, it is still raw. It is in the original form. Of course, it is obvious. It is in its original form. The second one is the preference. When we prefer it, group data used while analyzing, drawing graphs, charts and figures. Group data is referred as it is easy to interpret, because if you are making a pie chart, if you are making a bar graph, so grouping of data will give you freedom to make the graph in intervals. That's why you have grouped the data. So in those cases we will prefer group data. And when we will prefer ungrouped data, it is used while collecting. Ungrouped data is preferred because it is still in the original form and not tempered or manipulated. So when you are collecting, you should collect in an ungrouped form. You should collect it in a raw form and then you should analyze it. So there is no manipulation or tampering of the data. Accuracy. Group data is preferred as the calculation of mean is more accurate. In case of group data, the calculation of mean is more accurate. This we will see in the examples. And if you see ungrouped data, it is less accurate. Representation. Group data is frequency tables and graphs are used to represent the grouped data. So if you want to represent grouped data, we usually use frequency tables and graphs. And ungrouped data, it appears like a big list of numbers. If it is ungrouped, if you are if you have stored it in an Excel sheet or in a Word file or PowerPoint presentation, it will look like a big list of numbers. So I will just give you a brief summary of what ungrouped versus grouped data means. So grouped, ungrouped, based on the classification. Organized into classes, no form of organization in the case of ungrouped data. Preference, preferred when analyzing data, preferred when collecting the data. Accuracy has higher accuracy levels when calculating mean and median, and ungrouped data is less accurate in determining mean and median. Presentation. Frequency tables are mostly used and lists are used in case of ungrouped data. If I summarize it, if I want to summarize this kind of data, it is summarized in frequency distribution, and ungrouped data is summarized in list or in presentation. So basically it has no form of summarization. Thank you. If you have any doubt, or if you want to give any feedback, or if you have any suggestions, kindly direct it to the given mail or comment it in the chat box. Thank you.